What's going on, everyone? Happy Wednesday. Hopefully, everyone is doing well and having a great day so far. It is time now for the Wednesday weather update for Wednesday, December 4th, 2024. If you're new to my channel, welcome to my channel. This is where I do the daily weather updates for the United States and sometimes read a headline from something that is going on across the rest of the world. So if you're new here, subscribe down below, give this video a thumbs up, hit that notification bell, share this video with anyone you know across social media, word of mouth, wherever, and of course leave any comments down below. Starting off today internationally, floods are a big problem over in Malaysia and southern Thailand. The death toll from the number of people killed is now up to 30, and tens of thousands of people have been displaced. We talked about this the other day, and it's real. I mean, the number of people killed has gone up. Take a look at this picture. Someone using that is a rather large canoe to get around over there because of all the rain that they have had. All right, moving over to the United States. Snow squalls have been something that I have been talking about quite a bit lately. And take a look at this in Warrens, Wisconsin. Look at this time lapse that was posted by the National Weather Service. You can see things start off okay, and then as time goes on, here comes the snow. Take a look at the distance. Now you can see the visibility is starting to drop. The roads were perfectly fine, and suddenly like that, the visibility goes to near whiteout conditions. The roads quickly become covered. Things can get dangerous really quickly, and these are the situations that often lead to those multi-vehicle piles where you see cars, trucks, all smashed up on the highway. Luckily, in this situation, it did not happen, but the roads, they can be fine and get very slippery and icy quickly. Your visibility while driving can really deteriorate fast. That's why these squalls are dangerous, and we're going to see more of these squalls throughout the evening today and again tomorrow. The lake effect snow machine is going to be reinforced tomorrow. All right, from the Weather Prediction Center, I wanted to share this with you. The day 3 through 7 hazards for the United States. They're saying heavy snow is possible across portions of Washington state. High winds are going to be an issue in the northern Rockies and along the Gulf Coast. Heavy rainfall on December 8th through the 9th is going to be an issue. Those high winds in northern Rockies, that is for December 7th through December 8th. And some of this heavy rainfall down in the Gulf Coast, they're actually seeing some today as well. Show you that in just a moment. And in fact, you can see here on this satellite picture, there is a disturbance down there. And here comes the next Arctic front, which is coming through the Great Lakes right now. It's a Clipper system. There's a front with this, a reinforcing shot of cold air. All is quiet right now on the West Coast, but we're going to be watching the Northwest because there could be a storm system coming in for you this weekend. Taking a look here. Look at this. We have a southwest flow, a flow out of the south and southwest along the east coast. But the winds of change are over the Great Lakes. Look at those winds that are blowing into Chicago right now. The Windy City is really windy at the moment. That is going to move into the east. And I'm telling you, places in the northeast tomorrow, 40 to 50 mile per hour wind gusts. In fact, in West Virginia, National Weather Service is saying there could be gusts up to 60 miles per hour in the highest elevations. At the same time, it's snowing. What does that mean? Check this out. Well, first off, let's check out radar. We can see there is some rainfall in eastern Texas and portions of Louisiana, Little Rock, and Jackson. And here's what's going on across the Great Lakes. We do see there are some snow squalls, and there are some snow showers in western Pennsylvania and upstate New York. All is quiet on the West Coast. But now, check this out. See the orange in portions of West Virginia? Yep, those are blizzard warnings. It's not because there's going to be a lot of snow. It's because of the conditions. While it's going to be snowing, it's also going to be very windy. The visibility could drop. Yeah, it's not going to be a good situation. So if you have to travel through portions of northern West Virginia in the mountainous regions, please be very careful if you do that going into tonight and into tomorrow. Lake effect snow warnings are up for portions of northeast Ohio, northwest Pennsylvania, and they do extend pretty far east, almost into near Wellsboro, Pennsylvania. Well, just to the west of Wellsboro. East of Bradford, though. That is pretty far to the east to see lake effect snow warnings, and southwest New York as well. Winter storm warnings and winter weather advisories up for portions of Northeast, including Pennsylvania. Winter storm warning still up across portions of Michigan, and there are a couple in northern Wisconsin and even northern Indiana as well, all from this Clipper system because it's going to be very windy with this snow, and some places will see several inches of snow, and right along the Great Lakes, well, you could see a foot or more of snow once again along the coastal areas of Lake Erie, and it does look like this go around Lake Erie coastal areas will be the jackpot for the snowfall. Nothing to report on from the Storm Prediction Center. Taking a look at the Weather Prediction Center, there is something I want to show you as we head into next week, and we'll talk about this more in just a little bit on the models, but take a look at this as we head into next week. You can see around day 5 of which is next week, you can see there's this front here that does come through the midsection of the country. Then you see a area of low pressure over the Great Lakes. We've been tracking that for several days. Watch what happens as I advance to day 6. Here comes that front, but on day 7, at the end of their forecasting period, yeah, you're seeing that front doesn't move all that much. And take a look down here in Georgia. Area of low pressure forming near Atlanta. We'll have to keep an eye on what happens with that. There's a lot of model disagreement right now, but this boundary, this front, could stall and moisture could gather along it, which, you know, a front that stalls, moisture gathering along it, does spell there could be a significant storm system as we head into the second half of next week. And it is starting to show up on the precipitation forecast. Day 1 forecast. You can see here some precipitation around the Great Lakes. That's from the lake effect snows. You also do see here that rainfall along the Gulf Coast. That should pretty much really die down as we head into tomorrow before another round of moisture starts to form in Texas on Friday and on Saturday. As we head into the weekend, a heavier round of moisture will move into more places, and that will even make its way up into the Ohio Valley early next week. And you can see here, look at day 6 and day 7. You see, they do expect some precipitation along that boundary. And here's the days 1 through 7 precipitation outlook. You do note that in the Pacific Northwest, we do see widespread 1 to 3 inch precipitation amounts. Locally, 3+ amounts will be possible from a storm system this weekend, and there'll be more storm threats next week at some point as well. Take a look along the Gulf Coast. You can see here widespread 2 to 3 inch rainfall amounts. Locally, 3 to 5 inches cannot be ruled out in places like the Florida Panhandle, portions of Alabama, Mississippi, and especially in Louisiana and eastern Texas. Alrighty, let's take a look at the models. Here's the 18Z HRRR model, and you can see snow showers will continue across the Great Lakes overnight tonight. Here's that Arctic boundary right here across Ohio. We will watch that. That is going to move into the 95 corridor, the I-95 corridor, tomorrow morning at rush hour. Now, it is showing up here. Let me zoom this in. It is showing up here as rainfall, but if these precipitation rates are really high, with the cold air that will be available above, that is going to bring snowflakes down. So, again, even though it is showing up as rainfall here, some of this will actually be snow squalls that are moving through, and there could be snow squall warnings. Now, you're seeing in portions of the Northeast, look at this, snow. Yes, snow is showing up here, and there will be accumulating snow across portions of Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, Massachusetts. Again, the dividing line for accumulating snow, I think, will be that I-84 corridor. And look what happens throughout the day tomorrow. Lake effect snows just continue off of Lake Erie. Other lakes too, but the biggest band is looking to be off of Lake Erie at this time. Let's take a look at accumulation amounts. And mind you, this is a 10-to-1 ratio, but you're seeing here amounts up to near a foot is showing up across northwest Pennsylvania. Ratios will be higher, so I suspect there will be some places that see over a foot. Take a look at the mountains of the Laurel Highlands in Pennsylvania, northern West Virginia. Yep, 3 to 6 inches of snowfall is showing up here, maybe even locally 8-inch amounts. And away from I-95 in New England, take a look at this. Widespread 3 to 6 inch amounts. Higher elevations could see 6+ inches of snowfall throughout the day, throughout tonight, and into the day tomorrow and maybe even some snow showers continuing into Friday morning, especially across the Great Lakes. Now let's take a look at the NAM model, and with this model, I do want to show you temperatures. Look what's happening. Right now, currently here where I'm at in Philly, it is 39 degrees. This time tomorrow, it will not be 39 degrees. It'll feel much, much colder. The winds will be whipping in the northeast. It is really going to be just downright miserable in the northeast tomorrow evening and again on Friday. Look at this. You can see temperatures will actually, while they may go up a degree or two first thing in the morning, as the day goes on, temperatures will actually drop in portions of the northeast, especially away from I-95. Take a look at what's going on down in Florida, and you can see even there tomorrow night, the temperatures are really going to drop across portions of the south. Yes, you are seeing teens and 20s in northern Georgia, northern Alabama. That is really cold air. First thing Friday morning, a large portion of the United States will be below freezing, and I expect that to happen again on Saturday morning as well, before we will start to moderate as time goes on. Alright, moving on now. Taking a look at the European. We're going to show the European, then I'm going to show you the GFS, and we're talking about next week now. But first off, there comes that cold shot of air that is coming in to the northeast, and really for a lot of the country, for at least into Saturday. You can see here, here's an area of high pressure. Look behind it. You see a ridge is starting to build, and that ridge does start to push to the east, and it does push some warmer air into the east. Here's that next round of precipitation down around Texas, and you also see here on Saturday, there is some rain and mountain snow ongoing across portions of the Pacific Northwest, and eventually that system does clear at some point on Sunday. It pushes further east, and watch as this moisture builds out of the Gulf of Mexico. Could even be a few thunderstorms. That's not out of the question. Wouldn't surprise me if Sunday or Monday SPC goes with a marginal risk down in this area for severe weather. And you can see that moisture does build, but it does push to the northeast. Area of low pressure over the Great Lakes. Northern portions of Wisconsin, maybe Minnesota, could see a little bit of snow out of that. But watch what happens. Here's that next boundary. And you can see as we head into Wednesday into Thursday, here's that boundary that's left behind, mind you. This is the boundary that gets stuck next week from that system. Now, it sets up along the coast of the Carolinas, and it is a bit more east, but it takes a long time to clear, even on the European. And you can see, area of low pressure does get going as we head into Thursday of next week. Questions are, where is that boundary going to stall? Will it stall more east like the European? Or will it do what I'm about to show you on the GFS? Watch this. Here's the GFS. And we're going to advance this in the next week. There goes that first piece of energy. Northern Plains does get some snowfall. And I should also note that here's with the GFS, you can see here, it develops an area of low pressure on the southern end of that boundary. You can see here's the timing, Wednesday evening. So there would be some severe weather with that. And watch what happens. Yeah, that's a strong area of low pressure coming up the Appalachian Mountains. And look at this. It then transfers a little bit more east. And yeah, hello. GFS says, oh, well, wait a second. It's going to be a bit more northwest, and maybe there will be some cold air on the northwest side, which spells significant, if not major storm for the northeast. So again, it's all about location as to where this boundary stalls and just what develops along this boundary. If you get a stronger system, if you get this boundary to set up more northwest, and you get a stronger system developing out of the Gulf of Mexico, well then, yes, you would get this storm that the GFS is showing. But if you get what's shown on the European, where the boundary stalls a little bit more to the east, and the low gets going a little bit later on, well, then you're not going to get much of a storm. So this is something we are definitely going to have to watch going into next week. But there's something else we have to watch. Look what you're seeing in the northwest corner of this map. Yes, that is another unsettled pattern that moves in late next week and lasts for quite some time for the Pacific Northwest, and even portions of California get in on this. And that could be a multi-day pattern that sets up, which is why I think you may go back to above average precipitation once again. Alright, taking a look now at the Climate Prediction Center. This is the same data from yesterday, but generally I agree with this. We are eventually going to see a 6 to 10 day warm up in the east. The only thing that could potentially stand in the way of this is if that boundary sets up a little bit further to the west and we do get a low pressure system to develop in the Gulf of Mexico mid to late next week, well then this could be wrong and things would end up below average and we would actually end up seeing a rather large wintry storm system away from the big cities of I-95 because, again, even on the GFS, let's go back to that for just a second. Even on the GFS, take a look where the storm system tracks. The low actually goes over to major cities. That's not a favorable look for I-95, but again, should that system develop, I don't know, as fast as GFS, but maybe a little bit more southeast, well, that would change things as well, and we don't really have the update yet for today, but I'll show you this anyhow. I do agree with above average precipitation along the east and slightly below average for California. And then as we head in 8 to 14 day, we are still looking at a warm up beyond that period. There's not going to be cold air that comes in behind that stall boundary. This is not a case where that happens. Things will actually moderate and warm up, which is why I do think 8 to 14 day temperature outlook will continue to be above average for much of the country, near normal down along the Gulf Coast, and I think we're going to have a wetter pattern return once again in the Pacific Northwest. I think this is correct here, what's showing in the 8 to 14 day outlook. Wouldn't surprise me if that storm system that's showing up for the Pacific Northwest trends a little bit stronger as we get closer in time. Alright, we'll have another update on all this again tomorrow. If you enjoyed this update, give it a thumbs up, subscribe down below. Any questions or comments, leave them down below. Hit that notification bell to be notified of my latest updates. And of course, share this video with anyone you know across social media. Just hit that share button. I will see you all again tomorrow. Until I see you again tomorrow, stay safe and have a fantastic Wednesday afternoon. Thanks for watching, everyone.